You know, I didn't want to be housing court. I want to be a judge. I want to be a judge. Is what I was really saying. I even asked, where's my younger sister? And she kept saying, why not? And I was just like, it's not sexy. So, but let me just really ask my housing court staff to just stand up again by yourselves. I want to honor you all for coming out and just giving me due reverence. And this has been a hard transit. It's not only been hard on me, it's been hard on them. Because them not knowing, but I honor them. They have continued in the most professional manner and have been mindful of the public and have been doing their jobs. And some of them have been doing it tirelessly. I thank you all for that, and I honor you. Thank you so much for your support. And, you know, I'm the kind of boss that I'm just like, I don't micromanage. I'm not egotistical. This is a team effort. I have always said to my volunteers, this is Team Scott. This is our court. You know, even though it falls on me, it's our effort. It's just not about me. So I just thank them. Let me just say, I thank the Congresswoman. I thank Kevin and Gwen Rogers. I thank Ward 1. I thank the Golstons. I thank, you know, my Councilman Jones, the First Family, Judge Tanya Jones. Just a lot of people that, you know, Sheila Wright is my steel, right? Steel sharpens steel. Judge Byers is my prayer partner, because, you know, some other judges, Turner McCall, Judge Lugo, people I can call that gives you the heads up, that pour into you. It's so many people I can thank. 1099, the union, for one of the first and only unions that really just endorsed me. I mean, just keep it real. You know, and supported me. Oh my gosh. Sandy Johnson, my hairstylist that kept this crown looking good. Is she still in here?
Get it.
Let me tell you, she did it because it was times where I was broke, and let me tell you, that's a blessing. But she does a lot of people in the court's hair, but I'm not gonna call them out. So she keep a lot of us looking good. Shayna B. You know. Shayna B did my website. Michelle Felder helped to pull this event together, the Ratners. But let me get to my councilman also, Councilman Anthony Harrison. Yes, I affectionately named him the Road Maker. And I'm gonna tell you, it's some roads are harder for us than others. You saw who stood up. This is difficult. If you are a first-time politician such as myself, no one in the family has ever done this. I don't have a catchy name. I don't know what I was doing. All I know is I give sweat equity. That means I'm gonna be everywhere. And I love to meet voters. I love to talk to you one-on-one. And a lot of you have met me one-on-one. The first time out, I think I did a lot of reference in listening to everybody and listening to what voters wanted and needed. And I thought I knew what I wanted to do with housing court, but then when I came back in 2019, I took everything in. And I created a platform for what everybody told me and what everything I saw. And then when I presented that platform, everybody said, that's what we needed. I want to also say hey to Letty Maldonado, her mother, Miriam Ortiz Rush, was the bailiff for Judge Bianca for decades. She helped me also. So I want to honor her and say hello to her. She's in the audience, and she helped me. I also want to say thank you to my volunteers. 2 that consistently showed up was Faye Harris and Rob. You know, volunteers. Patricia Williams came through when I finally reached out and called. You know, some things are hard for candidates, when people say, call me if you need something, you kind of just don't believe them at some point. And then when you actually call them and they actually show up, you're like, wow, they are gonna show up. To my mocks, my mothers of college students crew that just kind of listened to me vent and then supported me, they're here. But I can go on, Bashir Jones, Councilman Bashir Jones, ooh-wee. One of my other rocks and supporters. I thank him. My family who stands behind me, they are my backbone, they straighten my spine, they let me whine, they let me cry, they let me have nervous breakdowns, they were willing to catch planes, to catch cases, to help fight. That's what sister's for. I'm like, no, can't do that. But to my nieces and my nephews who look up to me, to my children, my babies, my chica and my son, who have me in the swimming pool, gotta meet tomorrow at 5 a.m. in Canton. But to God be the glory. To God be the glory. You know, my sister said a quote that I kind of live by, and I'm gonna tell you, I haven't been this emotional since I passed the bar and I spoke to first-year law students. I think I cried during that speech and couldn't stop crying because I think I had just had my son, so that was emotional. Just passed the bar because I had to take a second trip down, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm never ashamed of my story. Took 2 trips to take the bar because on paper, I'm not supposed to be here. That's facts. I took the SAT in high school with the flu. My high school counselor told me that I shouldn't be going to college. I probably should be going to vocational school because college wasn't made for me. And I simply said, okay, that's fine. Went ahead and went to college. But I hadn't even prepared to go to college because nobody showed me. I'm a first-generation college student. I didn't know you were supposed to do certain things your junior and senior year. College counselors in public schools, that didn't really exist. So I had to create everything and figure out how to do it myself. We didn't have computers back then, yes, I know. But I went, and we were poor. And so college application fees, didn't know what that meant. I didn't have $50, $25. Guess what I did? I called every school and said, I can't afford this application fee, so now what? They was like, just write a note, we'll waive it. We had to literally figure out how to do everything. Presented my mom with financial aid, and she was like, I'm not doing that. I had to figure out how to do my own financial aid package. And she just said, show me where to sign. So we did it. My sister and I hear my sister in the background saying yes. You know, we did a lot of stuff on our own. And so on paper, it was a struggle. We had no tutorers. We had no things. Georgia made you pass in writing and reading tests to graduate college. And so, yeah, we had to struggle. So, you know, I say that we got through that hurdle. Florida had a test that you had to take to graduate. You had to take a math test to graduate Florida. Ohio, you just graduate college. You don't have to have obstacles, praise God, but I didn't go to Ohio college. So I finally did that and got into, I actually scored high on the LSAT and came here. So I didn't have the honor of doing the LCOT program at Cleveland Marshall, but I came here and I'm gonna tell you, I mean, you know, I'm not ashamed. My midterm, because you only have one midterm and one final exam. You have 2 grades your first year. I flunked my midterm in contracts and I died. That was the first F I ever received in higher education. In the Welling Walls, we had to look for our grade by our number. And I kept saying, you can't point because it's like 20 students behind you and you're like this. And I was almost threw up. So, yeah, that first year was hard because you're thinking, am I not supposed to be here? Are you literally telling me that law school really isn't for me? And I almost dropped out, but for me being pregnant with, and she brought it back into perspective. That I'm really doing it for my future that I'm gonna give birth to. And so I took the bar 7.5 months pregnant, and I slept through that bar, and I had to take the bar again. But the journey was hard. And my mother always said, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I shall rejoice and be glad in it." She started every day, every conversation, every greeting with that verse. That one biblical verse let us know that regardless of what comes my way, I will rejoice and be glad in the face of the battle, in the face of fear, in the face of complications, in the face of chaos, in the face of growing weary, in the face of lies, in the face of temporary defeat, in the face of jealousy, in the face of deceit. Many have tried to tell the world who I am through digital press and social media. Many have attempted to narrate my story without engaging in the most basic conversation with me. I have told many things about myself, my vision and platform, yet remain quiet about things yet to come. So who am I? Sojourner Truth asks on May 29, 1851, "Ain't I a woman?" in a memorable speech on the intersection between women's suffrage and Black rights. However, today I ask, ain't I a Black woman? I am one of 4 daughters to my mother and father, one of 6 to my father and former stepmother. I'm a graduate of Florida State University and Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I'm a first-generation college graduate. I'm a first-generation post-college graduate. I'm a first elected official in my family. I am the first African-American, female, and East Sider elected as Cleveland Housing Court Judge. I'd be remiss if I did not say this was not easy. To be a political candidate is hard. To be a judicial candidate is tough. To be a judicial candidate for Cleveland Housing Court was exhausting, grinding, arduous, fatiguing, heartbreaking, toilsome, and a whole list of adjectives, but God. Many will say I won because I was a Democrat running against a Republican. I say I was passionate and concerned about housing law and accessibility for Cleveland residents, listening to the community first, and implanting their concerns into a viable platform is what made me the better choice. Many will say I don't know what I'm doing, that housing court law is a specialty. I say my many years as a prosecutor, spent in numerous bench trials and jury trials, my oral arguments before the 8th District Court of Appeals, along with years as an administrator for fair housing, prepared me for a time such as this. I'm a lover of the Constitution, a protector of rights, and believe that everyone deserves compassion and to be treated fairly. I speak to my fellow colleagues who are currently campaigning to ascend to the bench and don the Black robe. I am the candidate who broke all the rules because those traditional campaign rules were suffocating me. Ain't I a Black woman? No, I did not do judge for yourself and will not do it ever again. And just FYI, I participated in 2017. It was biased.
Well, gee.
No, I did not participate in the Plain Dealer's endorsement and will not do that ever again. FYI, I participated in 2017. It too was biased. I love meeting voters one-on-one. And as judicial candidates, we have a duty to educate voters about the importance of voting for judges. You need to educate them about your love for zealously upholding the Constitution of the United States and your compassion for everyone. I just want to say that take a minute to know candidates. Take a minute to understand candidates. Don't ignore them. To give them a minute. And as the judges that are here in the black robes, everybody take a minute to get to know them as individuals. Because I'm already here and it is lonely. It is overwhelming. But, you know, I know what I'm doing, surprisingly. And everything I do strategically and intentionally. From the people I even asked to speak. I asked the first African-American woman in Domestic Relations Court of Cuyahoga County to be a speaker. I asked the first African-American woman elected to South Euclid Court to speak. I asked the first African-American woman justice elected to the Ohio Supreme Court to swear me in. That was done because I wanted trailblazers and for people like my daughter to see this. But I also selected a team intentionally to lead my court. And if my team is still here, I selected from my Chief Magistrate, Tracy Gonzalez, Esquire. Is she here? Stand up. 14 years, I think 14 plus years as a foreclosure magistrate. I also selected Stephanie Hall, Esquire, as my chief bailiff, former county prosecutor, former Cleveland police officer, former Tri-C police officer. I selected former councilman, former mayoral candidate Jeff Johnson as my chief housing court specialist, Esquire. I selected Ryan Madej, Director of Communication, also Public Information Officer with Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. I selected Belinda Cowles-Guest, former Cuyahoga County Prosecutor, as my personal bailiff, as my chief of staff. She too is an Esquire. Newton Cargill is my new add-on. Newton Cargill Esquire is my new court administrator. Notice how everybody has an attorney? Oh, and my new deputy chief, Myra Embry, 19 years with Housing Court. My new magistrate, Mark Wiseman, former councilman of University Heights. So I'm pretty good at picking a new team that's gonna lead this court. So I just thank you for your time. I'm so happy. I think as a little girl, I wanted to wear a black dress more so than a white dress. I thank you for allowing me this honor to wear this black robe. Thank you everybody in the community, Ward 1, Ward 7, Ward 10, Ward 2. These are some of the wards that stomped hard. Deborah Lee Curley, thank you. I see you over there. Oh my goodness, I can keep going on and on with the thank yous. Thank you, State Rep House, State Rep Brent, Councilman Purnell. I'm not sure if he's here. Ward 8? Okay, all the wards, I'm not gonna be remiss, but the East Side wards came through. Thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you so much, I love you all. Please stick around for pictures and food. We're not done. Oh, wait a minute, but we're not done yet? We got a few more things to do. Reverend Quincy.